So Eli Sharabi was held by Hamas terrorists for nearly 500 days following his abduction on October 7th. That was in 2023. He was freed in February. Now the body of his brother Yossi, who was killed by Hamas captivity, has been returned to Israel. Eli Sharabi, who wrote the book Hostage and was in our studios just a week ago, rejoins us today. Eli, your reaction to the events over the last 48 hours?
Well, it was a mixed feeling for our family. We got closure with Yossi's body after 2 years. Very sad closure, but it gave us the opportunity to have a grave to cry on. And for me as well to see my friend being released alive, Alon Noel, and meet him yesterday was a very emotional moment and great, fantastic moment.
There's a picture up now with your brother, and you're referring to Alon Ohil, who you were in captivity with. And he was a younger guy. You felt like you were mentoring him, trying to keep his spirits up. And one of the saddest moments you had is when you were freed but had to leave him behind. Have you spoken to him? And what was the conversation like, if you have?
First of all, we hugged each other and we cried a little bit. It was very emotional meeting. I just wanted to let him know I'm very proud of him, that he survived another 8 months without me. And I was sure about his ability to do that. And he said the things he learned from me helped him a lot. And he thought about our friendship and my family as well. And he hoped to meet them one day. He was very sorry about to hear about my family, of the loss of my family. But then we said we need to stay optimistic and to move on, and we are choosing life every day. And I'm sure he will rebuild his life. He will recover from his time in captivity. It will take time. It's a process. But I said to him, I'm sure he can do that.
Do you know the circumstances and how they killed your brother?
The circumstances of my brother's death was that he was next to a house that the Israeli Air Force bombs, and they didn't let them know that to get sheltered, and unfortunately the house collapsed on them, and this is how he found his death.
So right now, we're still waiting on 21 bodies. And Hamas is saying, hey, we can't find them. We're going to try, but it's hard to find them. Do you believe they're really trying?
I don't know if they're trying or not, but they promised and they signed on this agreement, so they need to bring them. That's what I understand. But again, I'm not going to give any suggestions to the experts that dealing with them.
So what do you expect Hamas to do now? We're seeing the video out of them executing anybody who collaborated or a member of a clan that wanted to be part of the rebuilding of Gaza. They're trying to reclaim their dominance in the area when they're supposed to disarm. What do you expect to happen with Hamas?
I'm not surprised at all, and I don't know why all the rest of the world surprised what is seeing now from Hamas. We are the Israelis knows who's this organization. It's terror organization. It will do anything, to get control on Gaza again and use his power and use his weapon. And he has no boundaries for this goal.
Yeah, so you have no faith that they'll disarm, but they're going to have to one way or another. The path to recovery, you've had a few months to get used to life in the free world. What is their path going to be like? What could you tell them about the process that you went through that they're going to be going through?
I said to Alon Noel yesterday, it's going to be a process. He has to give to himself time to recover, physically and especially mentally. It will take more than a few months to do it. He had severe trauma from 2 years in captivity. So it's not going to end in 2 days. That he needs his family together, to be with him, to wrap him with love and caring. And I'm sure that they will do it. Just give himself time.
Eli, I'm going to read you a quote from a former hostage, Tal Shahom, about his captors. He said, one of the guards was a first-grade teacher. Another was a lecturer at a university. And another was a doctor. These are normal people becoming terrorists. I was stunned to read that, but not as surprised after speaking to you and you saying that a lot of times the everyday Palestinian was more vicious than the Hamas captors, and they have to sometimes protect you from the outside Palestinians. So what could you tell us about your captors?
Again, Tal Shoham is right. Our captors as well. Some of them been teachers. Some of them used to work in IT. Some of them were electricians. Some of them were doctors. And of course, they are brainwashed with jihad, extreme, jihad, the worst they can be. And we are not surprised about that at all.
We'll see. As Hamas goes to target people, you have to wonder, where the people that are rehabable are, and can we have them lead? The name of your book is Hostage. If you want an idea of how the hell that he went through and what he did to survive, Eli Sharabi's book story is in that book, so go grab it. Eli, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. More Fox and Friends in a moment.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.